Daylight starting to break here in Lviv, Ukraine. It snowed overnight, at least an inch or two. It is bitterly cold as people head to the border. About 27 or 26 degrees Fahrenheit, sub-zero in Celsius here at the moment. And imagine those people on the border trying to leave this country in the open. Sometimes the wait can be 24, 36 hours. Now, I'm Michael Holmes in Lviv. After days of punishing sanctions levied on Moscow by the West, Russians have been spotted forming long lines at ATM machines. Many apparently worried their bank cards will stop working or that banks will limit cash withdrawals.
Since Thursday, everyone has been running between ATMs to withdraw cash. Some get lucky, some don't.
The US, European Union, UK and Canada all announcing Saturday they would expel certain Russian banks from SWIFT, the international payment system that connects financial institutions around the world. That is a big deal. Other sanctions include freezing the assets of some of Russia's biggest banks. Russian authorities have detained, meanwhile, nearly 6,000 people for participating in anti-war protests across the country since the invasion of Ukraine began. That's according to an independent monitor. Now, under Russian law, large demonstrations require a permit, and heavy fines or even jail time can be imposed on those without the proper paperwork.
To start the war was a very bad decision for our people because many of them have relatives, friends, husbands, and they will die for nothing.
Meantime, CNN contributor Jill Doherty is in Moscow monitoring the Kremlin's reaction to its military campaign against Ukraine. As Jill explains, it doesn't appear to be going as planned.
Several events here in Moscow that may indicate that the Kremlin is more and more concerned that this military operation in Ukraine is not going as they expected. Number one, President Putin ordering his military to put his nuclear deterrence forces on high alert, what he called special combat regime. The Russian president saying he was doing it because of aggressive rhetoric coming from NATO and also from these draconian sanctions that have been leveled by the United States and by Europe. The White House did respond, but in a much more measured fashion, saying simply that the Kremlin is manufacturing threats that do not exist. And there was no indication, at least at this point, that the United States is changing its nuclear posture. Then another sign, the military, the daily briefing by the Russian military admitting for the very first time that Russian soldiers have been killed and wounded in battle in Ukraine. There were no numbers given, and the military spokesman saying that it was fewer than the Ukrainians had suffered, but still significant, that first example of their admission that people are dying in this military operation. And then finally, another statement, this time from a former Russian president, Dmitry Medvedev, saying that there is no need, no particular need to have diplomatic relations anymore. He said, we might as well padlock the embassies and we can look at each other through binoculars and gun sights. Jill Doherty, Moscow.
Still to come, my colleague Anna Koren with how people around the world are rallying behind Ukraine, condemning Vladimir Putin and Russia's war. We'll take a look at some of the solidarity protests going on. I'll see you a bit later.